I've explained in the past that I'm a fan of a genre known as Tokusatsu, which to those of you unfamiliar, Tokusatsu is a TV show or movie originated in Japan that's live action and features some kind of special effects, and a lot of Tokusatsu from Japan has been brought over here to the States. There are two main subgenres of Toku, Kaiju, which I'll be talking about more in a minute, and the more well-known subgenre, Henshin Heroes. Henshin means transform. Because of me being a huge fan of Toku, I've decided to make a documentary series of internet videos talking about the history and evolution of Toku. As usual, there's no better place to start than the very beginning. There are some hardcore Tokusatsu fans who have never realized that Toku has been going on a lot longer than they probably think. So that just gives us one question. Where exactly do we start? To answer that question is simple, dear viewers, with one word: Kaiju. In other words, giant monsters. Giant monster movies have been around since the 1950s and are still going on to this day. But giant monster movies didn't become popular until 1954, with a giant, radioactive, fire-breathing, sonic-screaming lizard known as, and say it with me now everyone, Godzilla. The movie was about a giant lizard from prehistoric times being frozen at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean, and was reawakened millions of years later by a nuclear warhead and causes mass destruction on Tokyo and all over Japan. Godzilla was such a major success in Japan that in the mid to late 1950s and early 1960s, everyone tried to cash in at the craze that was sweeping the nation, all of which sought to be potential competition for Godzilla, but all failed miserably. That is, of course, until 1965, 11 years after the release of the original Godzilla film, that a competitor would enter the ring and equal the success of Godzilla, a giant turtle by the name of Gamera. The lizard and the turtle would be box office rivals for decades to come. Okay, that covers Kaiju, but what about Henshin Heroes? Well, in 1958, a live-action black-and-white TV show known as Gekko Kamen, which translates to Moonlight Mask, would debut and give birth to the Henshin Heroes genre. Yeah, you're gonna notice that I didn't give a lot of information about Moonlight Mask, mainly because there's not that much information about it. Anyway, it spawned multiple movies, an anime adaptation in 1972, a movie reboot in 1981, and even multiple parodies in Japanese pop culture. Okay, it's time to move on. It wouldn't be until about a decade later where a man named Shitaro Ishinomori would reinvent the Henshin Hero subgenre into what it is today. But I'm going to talk about that at a later time. Okay, so the early stages of Toku were set with these two subgenres. But it wouldn't be until 1966 where a man named Eiji Tsuburaya combined the two subgenres into what is now known as Ultraman.